Alright, welcome to example 2. We want to graph y equals 2 cosine of pi x plus 2 pi plus 1. Remember that this stuff inside the parentheses is my bx minus c. Our a is equal to 2, which means our amplitude is 2. B is equal to pi, that's the number in front of x. So our period is 2 pi divided by b, which is 2 pi divided by pi, so we have a period of 2. Our C number is minus 2 pi or negative 2 pi. Remember that it's always a minus C, so we do the opposite of whatever the sign is. So that means we have a phase shift of 2 pi to the left, and D is equal to positive 1, so we have a vertical shift up 1. That was a mistake. So our midline is at y equals 1. Alright, so we have that information. Now, just like on the previous one, we want to figure out where the phase shift is happening. So we have these two equations to help us find the endpoints of one period of our cosine graph. And that would be after we have phase shifted it. So bx minus c equals 0 is our first equation. Bx minus c equals 2 pi is our second one. We are now going to take our actual bx minus c, which is what's in the parentheses, so pi x plus 2 pi, and we are going to set it equal to 0 and set it equal to 2 pi and solve. So we subtract 2 pi from both sides, and then we're going to divide by pi on both sides, and when we do that, we get, for one of the endpoints, we get that x is equal to negative 2. On the other side, we're subtracting 2 pi, and we get pi x equals 0, and so now when we divide by pi on both sides, we get that x is equal to 0. These are the x values of our starting points. Now, these are not going to be located on the x-axis because this is a cosine graph. Now, remember, the cosine graph either starts high and goes low, or it's flipped upside down. So we need to figure out where that high point is going to be. Now, before we can do that, we have to look at the fact that we have a vertical shift. So we are going to be shifting our entire graph up 1. So our midline is at y equals 1, which you can see is denoted by this little dotted line at a height of 1. Now our amplitude on this one, our amplitude is 2, so we are going to be 2 above where the midline of 1 is. And one of our endpoints is at negative 2, so if we take that value and we take the y value, which is 2 above the midline of 1, then we're going to have a point located at negative 2, 3. So if I come over here to negative 2 and go up to 3, I will have the first point of my transformed cosine function. My second point is going to be located at 0, 3. And again, these are my endpoints of my cosine graph. Okay. Now my lowest point, remember, has to be halfway between these two endpoints. So the lowest point, what's halfway between negative 2 and 0? The lowest point is going to be located at, well, halfway between negative 2 and 0. Negative 2 plus 0 divided by 2 is negative 1. So my lowest point will be located at negative 1, comma, two below the 1 value. So if I drop down 2 spaces below that, I will be at negative 1. So my low point will be at negative 1, 1. I'm going to put a point right down there. Notice that my amplitude is 2 above the line. My amplitude is also 2 below the midline. So that should be equally spaced. And then where does it cross the midline? It crosses the midline halfway between the high point and the low point. So we're going to be crossing the midline at -1.5 and also at -1/2. Okay. Now that I have all my little critical points here, I can start drawing my graph. It's coming down, it's curving towards it, coming down, curving towards it. So I can see I have one period of my cosine function. Now let's go ahead and repeat the process again. I'm at a high point, so my next low point is going to be 1/2 over. So we'll have crossing the midline if we've gone over 1/2 to the right. My low point will be the next point over, and it will be down at -1. If I go over another 1/2, I will be crossing the midline again. And then if I continue on, I will be back up at that maximum point, the height, when I get to 2. Notice that when I'm graphing, I always divide my graphs into fourths. If you will continually do that, you will be more successful at graphing your cosine and sine functions. Always divide it into fourths. That way you can mark off where your midlines are, you can mark off your high and your low points. But start with the high points, or if it's flip-flopped, if it's reflected over the x-axis, start with your low points, and then halfway between those, put your high point, and then halfway between a high and a low, you have to have it crossing the midline. And if you will do that, you will be very successful at graphing sines and cosines. Alright, that's it for our video. Make sure you get all the notes and come in ready to work on Monday. Don't forget, I'm also making a video over Introduction to Tangent and Cotangent, which I will post tomorrow. That one will be due on Tuesday, but you can go ahead and watch the video and take your notes before then if you want to, but make sure you get it done at least by Tuesday morning. Thank you. You have a wonderful weekend, and take care.